up Simon for the talk, but how this is going to work, it's not going to be long. He's prepared about a 30-minute talk.
No, you said 3 hours. You don't mind.
So it's about 30 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A for about 30 minutes afterwards, and then we can continue to network.
And then just to...
But before siqale, can I just ask ukuthi sigcwalise ama-seats angaphambi? I think it's going to help Simon to feel more connected to us.
Please. Please, that's one request, is just to fill the...
Thank you. And just a small question before Sky, if anyone is keen on answering. Uguti, what do you believe is, one, branding, or two, personal branding? Anyone? How would you describe branding or personal branding? There's no right or wrong answer.
I think it's basically your profile, like how you market yourself, what services you do, what do you do. I think that's basically that for the branding.
Thank you. And I'm sharing this All right. There's no right or wrong, as I said. So I think before anything, I'd like, he's already here, but to welcome Simon Granger. Simon Granger is a seasoned brand strategist who helps growth-based individuals and businesses thrive. He has guided startups to multinationals, served as a senior lecturer in brand strategy at Vega, and spoken at TEDx, bringing deep expertise to his field. Simon Shelley Simon.
Thank you. To expand on Tabani's question, what is branding? The lady here spoke to marketing, your products and services. What brands do you follow? Adidas. Is that the only brand we follow in this room? Gucci. Whoa, okay. Okay, we've upped the game here. Adidas, Gucci, if English was my mother tongue. Gucci. Discovery Church. And sorry? Apple. Absolutely. A $4 trillion business. Sorry? Michael Jordan. Yes, that is a beautiful blend of Nike and then the individual. So if we take a step back, branding, you're branding a business, an individual, a nonprofit. What are the associations that we ascribe to these businesses and people? What is a brand that you detest? You just can't stand? Anything come to mind? A brand you don't trust, perhaps? What is that based on? So, a brand is what we perceive it to be based on our experiences, and we've got a shared experience there. Do we understand that branding is a complex system? It's what each of us think about a particular company or person, and that can vary. In this case with Eskom, it seems unanimous. The key focus of my talk is that you are a brand, whether you like it or not. And my question, this is going to come across perhaps a bit harsh, What are you doing about that?
Yeah.
Are you engineering your personal brand to be perceived in the best light possible? Or are you just letting it go and really what others think of you and hope that it's positive? Ideally, you want to take control as much as possible. There are a few trends to bear in mind. So if we could go through to my slide deck, Nelly, please. And we move on to the next slide. A key trend we need to think about. Next slide, please. I can dance. I think you just witnessed that. Thank you. Who here uses Google? All of us. If you're going on a date, do you Google? You do your homework? No. I hope you do. No. Sometimes. Yo. So you're not Googling the person, you're not going onto Facebook or Instagram and checking what they're sharing, what they're about. If there's a company you want to work for, you're not following them. Oh, there we go. At least so not when it comes to dating, but we do that with job hunting. If you run a business and you're looking for staff, are you going to use Google to find out a bit about the prospective employee? Yes. So if you were to do a Google search of your name, what would come up? And what does come up, is it favorable? Is it positive? Can I get some of these are heavy questions? If we can move on to the next slide, please. One of the greatest examples of personal branding is Oprah. She understood personal branding decades ago. And it's predicated on philanthropy and giving back. And I don't know about you, I got quite emotional when I used to watch her show. Very motherly and transparent. That's, I think, largely what she is associated with and been testament to the empire that she's built. So what we really want to think about is the rise of the individual brand. You are a brand whether you like it or not. And if your brand's seen favorably, it can create opportunities for you. Who here is employed? Okay, who runs their own business? Okay, about half and half. From an employee perspective, having a strong brand can create opportunities for you.
Yeah.
You could be promoted, new projects. You could be headhunted. If you think about it, why would someone headhunt someone? Because they see them as having desirable skills. What are you doing to convey your unique skill set? And the same applies as a business owner. And if we can move on to the third point, trust is the new currency. If you don't have trust, you don't have anything. And everyone knows what it's like when someone breaks their trust with you. Who easily gives that person? Who takes a hard line? I'm not speaking to you again. Okay, a few tough cookies in the crowd. Who's forgiving here? Oh, we shouldn't be. I would also put my hands up. We really are stupid. But yeah, we forget. That's actually, I've got a memory of a goldfish. So I actually forget that people break their trust with me. We need to think about what we say and what we do. And it's amplified with social media. I think we will all have attested, or can attest to that. If we move on, one of my favorite quotes by a gentleman by the name of Christo. He says, networking is who you know, reputation is who knows you. Oh, it's heavy. Is your name being spoken about at the table?
Yeah.
Yours is. With an enthusiasm. I really respect the self-confidence there. Is your name coming up? I know these are tough questions. Please, if we can move on to the next slide. And what I'd like to share with you is 10 principles this evening with a series of examples. So if we can move on to the first example. Who knows Batu sneakers? Anyone sporting Batu? Respect. Oh, sure, safely too, folks. Founded by a gentleman by the name of Theo Beloy. He employs over 300 people. From the outset, he knew what the vision for Batu was, and safely employs over 300 people. My question to you is, what is your vision for your brand? Who here has spent time thinking about, what do I want my future to look like? Show of hands. Okay. Actually, most of them are fantastic. Whether you have or haven't, spend time reflecting on what you want, what is true, and to ensure that it's based on your values. What do I want in my future in both a professional and personal capacity? We have to visualize that. And the value of having that vision is we can reverse engineer that to say, well, what does that roadmap look like? I love that the visual of a roadmap. What are the steps in place to make that happen? So that's the first principle, is you need to have a vision. Otherwise, just think about every day. Where's it taking you? Is it taking you in the direction that you want? No. It's going to inform the decisions you make. Is this true to my value set? Is this where I want to go? So that's the first principle. The second principle, which is on the next slide, is your audience. Your audience is a core group of customers or potential employers that you really want to focus on. So for those that are employed and looking to maybe move up in a company, what are the kind of relationships you need to build in terms of titles, divisions? What are you doing to ensure that you are part of those conversations? And equally, for those that are entrepreneurs in the room, and it's a similar principle, who is that core group of customers or clients that you need to get in front of? Something that I really strongly believe in is not everyone is your target audience.
Yeah.
When I started my business, it was quite romantic. I thought everyone was my audience, and yes, life has a way of shaking things up and providing some clarity quite quickly. Certainly in the work that I do, I have quite a specific market, growth-based businesses. That's where I found the sweet spot. It's taken over 15 years to get to that point. This is something that's iterative. It takes time. I wish I could say we have a crystal ball and it can determine the future and what you need to do, but we don't. So we have to test. We have to have a hypothesis. Is this making sense? So there are ways in which you can identify your audience, because you might be saying, Simon, audience is quite vague. Let's create some layers to this. So the first one is called demographics. I'm sure you have come across demographics, demography. So we're looking at the study of human populations. There are physical characteristics which can have a bearing. So it could be race, gender, age, life stage. Think of an 18-year-old versus someone in their 80s. Very different spaces. That provides you with some physical references through to your occupation. And with occupation tied to income. So that's the first layer to think about. The next layer is what is known as psychographics. And I think this is, in many respects, more and more important. So psychographics, we're looking at the psyche of our consumer. What matters to them? What are they struggling with? As an employee, you're thinking about your core audience. How can I solve that problem for the business and for our customers? Who do I need to build relationships with? How can I help solve that? Equally, as business owners, who is your market? What are they struggling with? What is that hurdle, that obstacle? Because essentially as a business, we exist to solve a pain point, a need, a want, an aspiration. So that's the second layer, psychographics. You then get what is known as behavioral segmentation. So this is a third layer. The key thing here is, and you don't need to get too stuck on the terminology, it's you just want to break down your audience into someone that you can relate to. So how often would they necessarily consume the products and services that you offer? And potentially where they're based. That's the last layer, which is known as geographic segmentation. So the better we can understand our audience, and what you're doing by using these layers is you're building out a profile. This person is based in said space or place. They're struggling with this. They value that. And off that, we need to then test that market and see if there's an appetite, there's interest. So that's what your audience refers to. If there's one message to take away when it comes to your audience, is not everyone needs, wants, or even cares what you offer. So as an employee, who do you need to speak to that is a gatekeeper within your company, and who is influential? Because that can unlock opportunities in terms of growth. Equally, if you're wanting to move companies, who are the gatekeepers and decision makers? Who has that influence? Equally, if you run a business, who do you need to get in front of? So that's really the takeaway with audience. Are you familiar with the brand Laleaf? You are? Hey, like, oh. So it was founded by a lady by the name of Amanda Dupont, and her business it's exploding. I don't know if anyone uses the products that she manufactures. It is so beautiful. And this is quite strange hearing from a guy saying, you know what, I'm in a safe space. Tabani said I'd feel relaxed, and that was an overshare. What I'm thinking is what I'm saying, which is perhaps dangerous. From the ingredients, to the feel of the packaging, to the marketing, to the communication, the website, social media, the golden thread is maintained. Amanda is clear on who her audience is. And she has tested that over the years, and she has found a sweet spot. And that's the takeaway with audience. Test, test, test. Moving on to the next theme is purpose. So when we speak about purpose, it's your reason for being. Arguably beyond making money or making a profit. For some, it is. I would argue it's a subjective thing. Are you clear on what your purpose is? By show of hands. Getting there. I like that. Someone say we're getting there. Respect. It's not something you just grow up and you've got it. It's something you have to process and reflect on. Okay, so quite a few folks in the room don't know what their purpose is. Take a step back. Take that drone view with your life. I love the idea of a drone, taking a macro view and thinking about what brings you joy. Is it to help others? Is it to teach? Is it to care? Is it to inform? All of these are nuances, but lock down on what that is, because the clearer you are on your purpose, the better it's going to help you actualize your vision. As an employee, you're going to want to find a company that mirrors your purpose and value set. Equally, for the entrepreneurs in the room, you want your customers and critically your staff to reflect your purpose. Regardless of whether you're employed or a business owner, spend time on what that is and share that, because you'll attract more like-minded people as a result. And it's going to help you through particularly the difficult times, because you're unwavering, you know your reason for being. Dr. Solomon, I think we're all familiar with the incredible work he does. Okay, so Gift of the Givers. KZN has been hit hard over the last few years. I think we can all attest to that. And one of the first non-profits, first responders, is Gift of the Givers. if you think of the sets of floodings that we've had, fires, Gift of the Givers have been here. And my question to you is, do you know what your purpose is? And once you've identified it, you want to own it and communicate it. So that's purpose. The next one, please. Differentiation. Is anyone familiar with Janine Binneman? You are now, for those that haven't. So, Janine Binneman is a jeweler based in the Western Cape, and I think she exemplifies differentiation. She is really unique. So when we think about differentiation, it's about standing out. We cannot afford to sound and look like someone else. I don't know if you're familiar with the quote by Oscar Wilde, "Be yourself, everyone else is taken." Heavy. Think of the cost of trying to be like someone else. You're stealing from yourself. Your gifts, your talents, what makes you truly unique. And it's about being brave and leaning into that, even if there are baby steps. If we don't differentiate, we become a blur. And I can tell you that in all the years of marketing, if you look and sound like everyone else, you're going to get lost. And we cannot afford that as employees and business owners. What you want to do here is lock down what makes you unique. We're on the same page. Your skill set, your experience. It could be your philosophy. It could be your education, it could be your qualifications. Lock down on what that thing is. And you're exposing yourself to some extent, but ask 3 trusted people in your circle that are objective. Then, you get some where just, whether you like it or not, they'll tell you as it is. Ask them because you value their opinion. What do you believe makes me different? And see, out of the 3, you may want to expand that. What is the commonality across that? So reflect on what makes you unique and get that external lens and see whether there's an alignment or whether you can morph the two potentially. There's a quote by Martin Newmeyer. He's a globally renowned brand strategist. He's done work, the brand Apple came up earlier, has done work at that kind of level, including Apple as a client. When everyone zigs, zag. It's a famous quote of his. When everyone zigs, zag. As I was speaking to you just now, Janine Binneman is a jeweler, and she is unique from how she is, her hair color, dyed blue, the way in which she dresses. And she's taken it to another level, folks. She even has a tattoo that's in blue, if you can see closely on her wrist. Okay, and I'm not saying take your brand to that level, but in her case, it's true to her brand. She lives her brand. She differentiates amongst jewelers and jewelry brands. And if you connect with quite a vibrant, unique kind of style, you'll be connecting your audience. So that's differentiation. Moving on to the next point, clarity. Are you clear about your brand? Where you're going, who you're speaking to? Are you clear on your values, your purpose? Indra Nooyi is the former CEO of PepsiCo, global, as we know, global brand. And she has been instrumental in building PepsiCo and making it a healthier, more sustainable brand. If you do have a chance, Google her and watch some of her videos on YouTube. She speaks with such clarity. And one of the videos I watched recently, who struggles with work-life balance? I categorize, don't we all? She says that's absolute nonsense. It's work-life, juggle. I thought that was quite a cool way of, yeah, juggle. No, that is a jungle too. I don't know if anyone has children. It's, yeah, I've got 2 little girls and they are wild. It definitely got her mother's genes. I hope my wife doesn't hear that. I love you, darling. It's been 17 years of a very long road for my wife. I've enjoyed it. A jungle too, but a juggle. So that's something that she speaks to. And a key takeout with reference to her brand is she's very clear on where she is taking her personal brand and the business. And when she speaks from a position of authority. Do you speak with clarity? Where do you get that clarity from? I would argue in part, reflection. And actually spending the time and carving out what you want for your life. Is it being dictated, or are you creating your own? Please take the time. You have a brand, package and communicate your gift. And be consistent in that. So that's the point on clarity. If we can move on to the next slide, please, Nelly. Your story. I think Mr. Trevor Noah needs no introduction. What an incredible story, from the environment in which he grew up to being the host of The Daily Show. I mean, it is truly a success story. He speaks about his story and growing up in apartheid South Africa, having a white father and a black mother, and never feels though he could fit in, and how he has harnessed his identity and it's catapulted him to this place. A phenomenal speaker. And to be a comedian, you have to be sharp. And I think you see things that general folks like myself just don't see, and have a way of communicating it. My question to you is, what is your story? Because if you have a clear story, people can connect with it. Not everyone, but the right people will connect with it. So reflect on your life. What have you gone through? Where are you going? Are people part of that journey? So in social media, and depending on what your objective or goals are, consider what you're sharing. Do you want people to be part of that journey and part of your success? So that's a key principle, which is your story. Nelly, if you can move on to the next slide, please. This is a tough one. Consistency. Who shows up consistently every day in every facet of what they do? I'm not raising my hand. The gentleman, the 1 out of 50 or 60 folks. Respect. I like the confidence. This has to be one of the hardest facets to master in branding, and certainly personal branding, because we have highs and lows every day. If you're wanting to build your personal brand, are you clear on the channels, the social media channels? Are you consistent in the frequency in which you post? No. And when you share something, is there the golden thread from that reel to that static post? The visuals you're communicating? Okay, some of us. The words that we use, is that distinctly you? It's a tough one. What I recommend is to conduct a self-audit on your personal brand, way in which we dress. And I'm not saying for 1 second we try and we'll go out and buy Gucci. I know the brand was mentioned earlier. But one day, if circumstance, provides or allows. That's even a better way of describing it. Thank you. It's being true to yourself with what you have. This is my general outfit, whether I'm seeing clients or giving a talk. My very strange or obscure sense of humor is the same when you meet me in person. I'm gawky, my wife loves me, and my 2 daughters, and I think my 2 dogs do because I feed them, so who knows. But what you want to be is yourself always. Then you're never putting on a mask. Because imagine, and I'm sure some of us have, I've certainly at certain points put on masks, you get called out. You speak about being this kind of person, but what are you sharing or liking on social media? You speak about being a particular person, and then you're liking or sharing or engaging with content that just contradicts. And we all see that, and we're all guilty. There will be a blind spot. The point is, we need to think about who we are, how we show up, and be consistent, or at least try to be consistent every day. A visual dimension to this is in how you promote yourself. So we're looking at social media, namely. A gentleman by the name of Neil Patel is someone that I highly recommend Googling. Type in Neil Patel, you'll see what I mean. He is an absolute authority in digital marketing globally. I've taken screenshots of some of his channels, from his podcast, website, through to YouTube and LinkedIn. Can you see the golden thread? Or the orange thread? So I thought that was very funny. At least in my mind it was hilarious, but it didn't really land. You know it's distinctly him. He generally wears a white shirt. The copy he uses, Neil Knowledge. So if you watch some of his videos or pop up, Neil Knowledge. The way in which he speaks, the topics that he covers, every single time is distinctly him. That builds your personal brand. We cannot afford to be schizophrenic by saying one thing and then contradicting it with another. So there's the body language, there's what we say, and what we convey online. So that's really the key takeout there. If we can move on to the next slide, please. Credibility. Another person I highly recommend following is Dr. Moyo. She is a globally renowned economist from Zambia. What I have in front of you is a screenshot from one of her pages of her website. If you could have a look at the copy. Baroness Dambisa Moyo is a member of the United Kingdom's House of Lords. She is principal of Vishacha Investments, a family office focused on growth, investing globally. And the fact that she served on boards with multinationals, advising multinationals. So I mentioned she has a doctorate in economics. She has 2 TED Talks. Her delivery is on another level. From the way in which she dresses, her domain expertise, the fact that she's a baroness, that she has a doctorate, she is an authority. What makes you credible? And I'm not saying you need to have those qualifications. What do you bring to the table? And, ma'am, if you take the time, you bring a lot to the table. Okay, that wasn't well received. I believe each and every one of us does, but it's taking the time to identify, package, and communicate that. And I certainly find myself victim to comparison, particularly with social media. Hey, everyone's doing so well, hey? And I don't know where all these Lamborghinis come from, but sorry? Oh, sorry, do you have a Lambo? Oh, okay. Yes, you're going to be like, that's my car. The thing is, we must never compare. And I find if I'm in a bad mental state, I try to step away from social media. Where I'm going with this is within the realms that we can control, lock down on what makes us credible. What are the associations we are connected with? It doesn't always necessarily have a cost incurred to this. Discovery Church, that you're a member. Are there any non-profits that you're involved with? Community work. What do you do for others? What company do you work with? If you run your own business, what are the clients or customers that you have? We want to think about what makes us credible, that we're in a position to advise. So that's credibility. If we can move on to the next point. Content. Do we have a content plan for social media? Who uses X? Okay, so a few. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Also, only a few use TikTok. Okay, there we go. Some more enthusiasm. It's getting late. What, did I say it was a 3-hour talk? We just started. Have a content plan. Look at what are the pillars that underpin your personal brand. And ensure whatever you communicate, it's predicated on those pillars. I would look at what is realistic from a frequency perspective. It's better to be predictable than posts that are neither here nor there. And I personally would rather have quality posts than quantity posts that are just so diluted there's no value. What is realistic given your world and your demands, professionally and personally? If you can commit to a post a week, but you stick to that, do you think that will do better than a post here and there? I would say so. What do you want to share? How are you conveying yourself as an expert in your field? So that's content. Critically, we're looking at our audience and what matters to them. We're thinking about the channels and the delivery of that. Is it text-based? If writing is your strength, test that. If you enjoy, who likes sending voice notes? I absolutely hate them. I'm so glad there's the 2 times you can speed up. I have some family members where it's a whole podcast. I'm like, I just needed to know what time to be there. And whoa. But if you enjoy the audio, there could be a podcast opportunity. Or even if you start with a series of slices voicing over something. If you're comfortable in front of a camera, there could be a video opportunity. It doesn't need to be perfect. And I think there's connection in the imperfection. I don't know if anyone aligns with that. I mean, I'm increasingly sharing videos on LinkedIn, but there's certain things where I'm like, just the cringe. But if we try and, again, drone view, what are we wanting to convey? The person receiving or gobbling up that content is not as critical as we are of ourselves. The blemishes, the this, the that. We are the most critical. If you are authentic in what you share, you will build your audience. And that's something that I'm working through. I don't profess that I've got it right. But it's showing up consistently and being yourself. Warren Ingram is a great example of that. So he's a financial planner, and he is a director at a company called Galileo Capital. He shows up consistently and bases what he shares on generosity. whether it's on podcasts that he's featured, his own podcast called Honest Money, through to the books that he writes. What is it that you can share? What is that content that you know? What is your take on it that makes it unique? Thank you. If you can move on to the next one. Reputation. Fani Titi. Are we familiar with this gentleman? The CEO of Investec South Africa. A lot of responsibility on his shoulders. If I'm not mistaken, he's been with the business for over 2 decades. I think he has a master's in mathematics. Very, very smart man. Remember that quote earlier by Christo? It's about who knows you. Does your name come up in that conversation? What is your reputation? Do you deliver on your promise? Hard one. If you say you're going to do something, do you do that? Yeah. I don't think I'm at 100%, I know that. If you make a promise, keep it. Yeah. Who here has got this waxed? I would love to learn from you. Please tell me what the formula is. Your reputation can really help you. Equally, it can destroy your career. Tabani was speaking earlier around our social media presence. That one tweet, the one comment can do wonders for your career. Equally, it can turn it around. One tweet can destroy your world. Do you remember that absolutely vile, evil comment by the late, was it Penny Sparrow?
Yeah.
It was a racist comment. I won't go into the detail. That one deplorable post, I think it was Facebook, I stand to be corrected, her career was over. She had death threats, and I'm not here to stand in judgment. I thought it was, diabolical personally, what she shared. But that post, her career and her family were implicated. So think before you post. Is this true to me? And again, if there's an image we want to convey, is it reflected in what we communicate online? Because if you think of the various algorithms, it has a way of showing that so-and-so's liked this post as a way to engage you. So-and-so has commented, so-and-so has shared. So you actually don't know necessarily who's going to see what you're engaging with. So be deliberate and think before you share anything or engage. So that's reputation. What I'd like to then move on to, if we could move to the next slide, I've got 3 questions to close with. Who are you talking to? From an employee perspective, who are you engaging? Map out those stakeholders, your line managers, your fellow colleagues, other departments, customers, depending on your role. As entrepreneurs, your clients, what is the frequency of that engagement? The prospects, how are you feeding the funnel in terms of those leads coming through? The second question, what do you stand for? Are you anchored in your values? Oh yeah, okay, so we had one. Okay, I love the, just off the cuff, I love it. What do you stand for? And then the third question I'd like to ask is, where are you going? Build the roadmap. And if it's 30 seconds you take from this evening, and I'm summarizing the talk, your vision is your future state. What do you want in your future, professionally and personally? Reverse engineer that to say, what are the steps? And that's where the value of a roadmap comes in. What do I want to achieve? And that's where your goals are for the next 3 months, 3 years, etc. Then think about, well, in order for this to come to fruition, to materialize, who do I need to engage? Who do I need to collaborate with, work with, build working relationships with? What brings my gifts, my talents, my skill set to that audience? What differentiates me? How am I marketing my abilities? Who am I working with in order to achieve that next milestone? And the last point I'd like to encourage is to have metrics, ways to measure the success of what you're doing. As an employee, you may want to create more visibility around what you do. And obviously it just depends on what T's and C's are on your contract with your employer. What can you share online that you become a voice or an authority in your field? And a metric could be the number of followers that you're building weekly, monthly, annually. If you are a business owner, how many leads are you generating per day, week, month, quarterly, annually? And there's a number of metrics depending on what the activity is. But if you don't have metrics, how do you know if you're succeeding or not? So that's, in a nutshell, the core elements. In closing, are there any questions that I can help answer or speak to? Mr. Ndlovu.